Welcome to the story of Earth, the prison planet. Part 1, Knowing. First breadcrumb, the verdict. Before breath, before name, Soleil was light. Suspended in warmth, she floated in the space between where unborn spirits wait and watch. No body yet, no brain, just essence, vibrating with memory and ancient curiosity. Then the verdict came. It was not spoken, but it shook the space around her. A frequency, a decision, a contract reassigned. Judged without memory, assigned to D Block, the Americas, Cycle 5, Family Line 82, Hereditary, Grief, Active, Womb, Activation, Now. The sentence was final. Soleil recoiled, not in fear, but in confusion. Her last mission hadn't failed. She had almost remembered. She had almost broken through. Why was she being returned to the same block? The same game? She couldn't remember. A shadow rippled through the dimension. The council had voted. High above, outside time, the Grand Council of Spirits convened in a ring of vibration. Beings of all lore and lineages, Yoruba deities hummed beside Slavic guardians. Hindu protectors floated next to Polynesian star-seeders. At the edge of the ring sat the Beast Alliance, imposing, silent and watching. They never spoke. They didn't have to. Their influence was woven in. The council did not notice the subtle distortion, or chose not to. Soleil's sentence stood. Earth, D Block, 21st century, North Philadelphia. Her spirit was encoded with new limits. Forget who you are. Forget the spiral. Forget the key. But something in her resisted. In the final moment before incarnation, Yemanja passed her a gift. A flicker of remembrance buried deep in her dream heart. A code shaped like a spiral. When the time comes, child, follow the rhythm. Then, pain, light, cold air, the cry. And then she heard it, a nurse's whisper in a darkened corner, speaking to another, unknowing that her words would stamp Soleil's life with a sentence older than laws. Another one born into the system. Poor girl, she won't stand a chance. Soleil wailed louder, not for milk, not for air, but for the knowing she already felt slipping away. Chapter 1, The Prison Planet. Growing up on D Block throughout the years, the melting pot that is known as the Americas, Soleil always knew something was wrong with the world. It wasn't just the poverty or the chaos, not the sirens at night or the steady buzz of static behind every news anchor's smile. It was deeper, like a pressure beneath the surface, a whisper that something wasn't quite right or real. It's just another night when she woke up again, drenched in sweat, tangled in sheets that felt like vines. Another dream. No, not a dream, a transmission. The owl had spoken again. The same riddle repeated every time. When rivers flow backward and shadows drink light, find the spiral buried beneath your birthright. She sat up slowly, clutching her chest. Her heart beat hard, not from fear, but recognition. It was happening. The dreams had started 3 weeks ago. At first, they came in fragments. An emerald forest, a silver river that coiled like a serpent, glowing eyes in the darkness. But now, the messages were getting clearer, specific, urgent. She turned on her lamp. No power. Again. The outages were routine now, especially in her part of North Philly, also known to be its own melting pot of sorts. that is of heaviness, of struggle. Soleil knew better though, because it was more like a pressure cooker. Racial tensions, spirit suppression, surveillance cameras in every street lamp, spying without fail. Something was building. She opened her journal, flipping past the old pages of hairstyles and client appointments, sketches of chakra charts and herbal recipes. She stopped at the page with the unilome she'd drawn last night in her sleep. The symbol spiraled tightly at the bottom, then unwound upward like a thread stretching towards somewhere else. There, beneath the spiral, she'd written, "Earth is not what it seems. Earth is a prison planet." The words didn't come from her, not consciously, but they felt ancient, true. That morning, she ran. Soleil always ran when her thoughts got loud. Her sneakers pounded against cracked sidewalks as the sun struggled to rise through the haze of pollution. She ran past murals of forgotten black saints, boarded up rec centers, corner stores that sold more blunt wraps than food. She didn't stop until she reached the abandoned school near the edge of the block. This was her place, sacred ground, the one spot where she could still feel something. Today, it wasn't empty though. A girl no older than 10 stood in the yard, barefoot, eyes shut, humming. Around her, pigeons circled, not flying away though, just moving like they were caught in a current. Soleil approached quietly. The girl opened her eyes and said without looking, "You remember more when you run." Soleil froze. "What did you say?" The girl turned and smiled. "You're Soleil, right? The owl said you'd come." Soleil stared at the girl. She had locks down her back, eyes too old for her face, and she stood like she owned the air around her. Not scared, not cold, just knowing. "The owl talks to you too?" Soleil asked, her breath catching in the back of her throat. The girl nodded and looked up toward the swirling pigeons. Not in words, in frequency. She bent down, picked up a rock, and used it to trace something in the dirt. A spiral. Then a tree. Then what looked like a fish with a glowing eye. "This is the map," the girl whispered. "It's not a place, it's a path. But first, you have to unlearn the world." Soleil stepped closer, the symbols pulsing like heartbeat echoes in her ribs. "What is this?" The girl didn't answer. Instead, she reached into the pocket of her oversized hoodie and pulled out a small object wrapped in wax paper. "This is for you." Soleil took it slowly, unwrapping layers until she held what looked like a smooth black stone, egg-shaped, faintly wet, and humming. She gasped. This feels alive." "It's a water key," the girl said, "for portals." Soleil blinked. "Portals? To where? The other dimensions? The ones we forgot we came from? The ones the Beast Alliance locked down?" She wanted to laugh more, harder, but the stone began to vibrate in her hand. And suddenly, a vision rushed through her mind. Rivers spiraling into skies, ancient temples beneath oceans, gods weeping at gates guarded by mechanical beasts. "Look, why are you giving me this?" Because you're the next breadcrumb. The wind shifted. The girl turned and walked away without another word. Within seconds, she was gone, like a mirage that had finished its message. Soleil stood alone, water key pulsing in her palm, the spiral in the dirt glowing faintly. She knelt, drew her journal from her waist and scribbled. When the child speaks, listen. When the map appears, follow. Trust the strange, remember the real. The spiral knows the way. And as the pigeons scattered and the sun pushed higher through the haze, she felt something shift in her chest. Not just fear, but readiness. Zarya called just after sunset. Her voice was shaking. Soleil, I need to talk to you about a dream I had. Soleil barely blinked. You know I love deciphering dreams. What kind was it? Did it tell a story all the way through? Zarya hesitated. It wasn't a dream. It was like a broadcast. Like something downloaded itself into my head while I was asleep. Soleil leaned against her kitchen counter, the sunset casting amber streaks on her spiral journal. Okay, and talk to me. Zarya exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for days. I was on a ship, right? But not like in space, more like floating above Earth. Except Earth didn't look right. It was covered in some kind of net. Black threads, like energy cables wrapped around the planet, like real crazy, like, I don't know. Soleil's skin prickled, slowly grabbing a pen without even realizing it. There were others on the ship with me, Zarya continued. Like different people. Some I knew, some I didn't, and these beings like were tall and glowing. It was like they were showing us footage, like a documentary. But it wasn't from the future. It was like from before we were born. What'd they say? Soleil asked softly. Girl, they said Earth was a prison planet. Ooh! Yes, girl. That most of us volunteered to come here but forgot why. Soleil dropped the pen. I know it sounds crazy, right? Zarya added quickly. But it felt so real. More real than this right now. Soleil didn't speak for a long moment. Then, you said they showed you something, right? Yeah. Timelines. Ones where we didn't wake up. Whole cities caught in loops. People repeating the same mistakes over and over, different lifetimes. It was like watching people trying to run through a maze that kept like rearranging and repeating itself. It was weird. Soleil closed her eyes. The hum in her ears returned. The one that she only heard during meditation. The hum that came before her own strange dreams. I've felt this, she admitted. But I thought I was losing it. You're not, Zarya said. Maybe we're waking up. That night, Soleil couldn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling, wondering, what if it was true? What if Earth wasn't broken but built this way? What if her dreams were never just dreams? She finally drifted off just before 3 a.m. And that's when it happened. She woke up inside a forest. Not the Philly she knew, but something older, bigger. The air hummed like it was alive. The trees whispered in languages her body understood. But her mind didn't. She wasn't alone. A fox with spiraled eyes appeared beside her. "This is not a dream," it said. "This is where you left your memory." Soleil stepped forward. The forest pulsed beneath her feet. She looked down, and her shadow was spiraling.